Good evening, everyone. The town council met earlier at 5:04 for a closed session here in the council chambers. The purpose was for business expansion retention conversation. All members voted to meet in closed session. The people attending was the town council, the mayor, Ms. Ruff, Mr. Richardson, Mr. Grundon, Mr. Horner, and Ms. Van Emberg. The authority is under 3-305 for closed session, a business proposal to locate within Talbot County. There is no action taken, and I think that's everything. So, good evening, everyone, and opening remarks by Mr. Silverstein. The Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Dear Lord, give us the strength as we go through tonight's agenda. On behalf of the citizens of Easton, please look out for all of those individuals who serve us in various capacities in public service, police, ambulance, fire, our hospital personnel. Please look out for all of those individuals who have COVID. May they recover quickly and become productive citizens again. We ask this in your name. Amen. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight would be the approval of minutes from our September 21st meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Items by Mayor Willie.
A couple things, Mrs. Cook. If you'll remember, maybe 8 or 10 years ago, the idea of changing the date for Halloween trick-or-treating from a Tuesday night to a weekend, we thought was a great thing to do until we did it. And the downpour of criticism was deafening. So we've decided that we're not taking an official position on Halloween this year. We're going to suggest that parents watch their children very closely and use the CDC guidelines. And as always, if they have the front porch light on, they're willing to accept young trick-or-treaters. And if not, then they should be left alone. So that's kind of our position. The other thing is, got a phone call from a concerned citizen who talked about the cost of parking permits in the town of Easton. Across the street, for instance, it's $300 a year, and if I understood correctly, it's prorated on a six-month basis. That means that if you buy your permit June 28th, for instance, you pay one fee, and then again at the end of the year you have to renew that parking permit. What's the council's feeling towards prorating at several times during the year, say once a quarter?
I'd be open to looking at a quarterly proration.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
Mr. Mayor, I'd be open to looking at a quarterly proration.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see doing it weekly or monthly. I think that'd be a little bit too much. Bookkeeping would be insurmountable, but a quarterly rate might be preferable to folks. If that's okay, then we'll approach it from that angle.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm done.
Does anyone have any questions for Mayor Willie? Thank you. Mr. Richardson?
President Cook, Council, I have 2 items for your consideration this evening. The first is a public assembly permit request from the Avalon Foundation regarding a event titled Art for the Outdoors. Their request results in the closing of Hanson Street from South Street all the way to Ottawa Avenue for the southbound lanes and the southbound parking along the western edge of that street. Easton Police Department has worked over the past few weeks with the Avalon Foundation to work out the details regarding crossing guards and traffic control devices and cooperation of many of the residents along South Hanson Street. At this time, they are recommending this for your approval with two specific provisions. One, that the Avalon fund 3 crossing guard positions at the intersections of South and Hanson, Brooklets and Hanson, and Idlewild and Hanson. They will be internally providing additional traffic control for the alleyways and other crossings. But those 3, we felt as though we needed officers to manage the traffic control.
Can we make one note, since it's a 2-day event, I know Earl Avenue at times gets busy also. If they see an increase in traffic from residents and those in the community using that intersection, can we have them add one there also
Earl.
on Sunday? Earl and Hanson.
I will note that for the police department.
Thanks.
As you pointed out, this is a 2-day event occurring November 14th and November 15th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on the 14th, and 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. on the 15th. Easton Police Department will need to post the no parking on Hanson Street from 4 o'clock on Friday through the end of the event on Sunday. That was their second provision, that there'll be no parking on the west side of South Hanson Street, from South Street all the way to Idlewild Avenue. Avalon is anticipating that 500 people will do drive-bys and pull into what was the parking lane to view the art over the course of this 2-day period.
Do you know what kind of response they've had from residents? I mean, I reached out just to a few of my neighbors.
So
To see-
Mr. Bond's not with us this evening, but he did provide a spreadsheet where several of the residents had agreed. There was definitely one no, and there were a handful of those residents that had not responded at the time. So there's not a complete tally of support or no support for this event from the residents.
Okay. I know that one resident that they didn't hear from, that I reached out to, they did circle back. So maybe the Avalon needs to update their sheet, 'cause they did hear from them.
Okay.
And gave their support for the event.
Great.
Does anyone have any questions about the Avalon event? You need a vote for support?
Yeah, recommendation is for approval.
And they also, and again, I wish Mr. Bond was here, but they also did get up with, there's a couple of churches on Hanson as well, and they did communicate with them, since obviously it would be affecting their Sunday morning
I know
services.
that was in the comment questions. I don't know that communication occurred, but that was one of our officers' review, was the church parking on Sundays.
Yeah, there's one at each end of the event, Bethel and the Baptist Church.
It should be noted that the Avalon Theater has already put out the publicity for this event last week, prior to coming before the council. So it's a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Did Mr. Bond list the reasons why he advertised for the event before he came?
I did discuss that with him earlier today, and I had suggested that he attend this evening's meeting. To answer that specific question, the reply that he gave to me was that once he received the recommendation of approval by the Easton Police Department, that he felt confident enough to take the risk of advertising the event, and was prepared, should the council not support it, to not hold the event.
Thanks. Any other questions? Does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Let's get everybody on record. Aye.
One, two.
Oh, are we going through? Sorry. Yes, in favor of.
Yes?
Yes.
I have some questions.
I'll do my best to answer them.
My concern is, if this was advertised before today, then why are we even doing this? It doesn't make sense. I mean, if it was in the paper prior to the day, I mean, what procedure are we following? I mean, help me.
This event still requires your approval. It's the way that the town of Easton has done it for a number of years. Anytime that there is a closure or effect of a public right-of-way, the chief and the Easton Police Department have forwarded that for approval to the town council. So you do have the ability to not approve this evening.
But is it normal to advertise that the event is going on prior to,
Some applicants do choose to take that risk. It is not the norm.
okay. Thank you. And you said you spoke to the churches in the area and you make sure that the parking, they'll have adequate parking on Sunday?
I don't know that for fact or fiction. The
Okay.
reality is, I think anytime you take away some parking in the town of Easton, there are going to be parking concerns.
The event time on Sunday was pushed back, correct? To
Yeah, the
allow
event time
parking
was
for
pushed
churches.
back. It starts at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and it starts at noon on Sunday. I believe that was to address some of the parking concerns related to church services.
Wouldn't want to mess up the Lord's Day.
Understand?
Yeah, I'm good now.
you.
I'd like to talk to Mr. Bond, though.
I'll arrange a meeting for you two.
Thank you.
My second item for your consideration this evening is one that was before you at our last meeting. We did reach out to other local vendors during the past 2 weeks, and we did get an additional reply. As you can see, though, the recommendation still is to proceed forward with Civic Plus for our website and our meeting and agenda management at a first-year cost of $36,243.
Just for clarification and my edification, we did go out to local vendors,
Yes, sir.
including Easton Utilities,
Yes, sir.
and only received two proposals back, but they didn't meet the criteria that
So
was
bo-
put out.
So both were able to do the website implementation. That is in what they typically would do. The meeting agenda piece, as you can see from even the respondents, there are varying degrees of their ability to respond to what our expectations were. And Civic Plus and Granicus were two that had a more robust meetings and agenda component. And that's why in this recommendation, we selected Civic Plus, specifically based on the fact that for the town of Easton, we believe that this is transformative, that having a good meetings and agendas application that can be available to the general public will be beneficial moving forward.
Just so the public knows, I think all of us on the council have talked with Mayor Mr. Richardson about the need to get a more vibrant website, one that our citizens can get better information. It's easier to navigate, and I've been involved in getting websites for organizations that I've been involved in. I know it can be very challenging, and I did take a look at the Civic Plus websites for Annapolis, Allegheny, Cumberland, Queen Anne's County, and Rockville and Frederick, and did find them easier to navigate, did have a lot of good information. The challenge we're going to have is making sure that we can get all the information up and on the site and keep the site accurate. But I felt confident that this is the best decision, and I'd make a motion for approval.
Second.
Yeah. I had a couple questions. So on the proposal, so while Civic Plus came in over the Muni code, you feel that the meeting and agenda management piece Civic code outshines the other one, correct?
Yeah, it was distinguishably different one to the other. So our recommendation was to go with Civic Plus, which we believe will provide a better service to the town of Easton residents.
It was very slick when you go on some of the sites that other communities have, as far as clicking on the agenda and it taking you right to the video piece. And some of those videos included Zoom, it was a hybrid meeting where it was Zoom and people in a chamber. That was very slick, I thought. But my other question would be, the ones that I viewed only had basically a council meeting. We can adapt this to all our commissions and boards, right? So it's not just council meeting. And is that an extra charge if we want to add HDC and the planning commission? And
So that as many meetings and agendas as we want to post, and I'll look to Scott for confirmation of that.
Okay.
We will have the ability to post all those meetings so that the agenda, the meeting minutes, the video, should there be video, all are linked together in a way that you can get to the piece that you're interested in looking at quickly, and also be able to bring up any documents that were provided with those. So this is going to be really important for particularly the Planning Commission, but also beneficial to all of our other boards and commissions.
the turnaround time between meeting and being on the website is pretty short.
So I'll turn that over to Scott.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The answer to the question is, it is a real-time voting and movement type of thing. Anytime a motion is made, the clerk will note that the motion was made. It's there. The meeting minutes, of course, will have to be approved, but the transaction of the meeting is live at the time. Also want you to know that your question about boards and commissions, there is no limit to the number of boards and commissions that this can be expanded to. No limit to users, no limit to any group that you wish to allow at the council's discretion to use this site is within the fees.
And then
One other thing that I would like to add when we were looking at the costs, looking out at a 4-year refresh on the website, which is included in this price, it certainly makes this particular one over a 5-year span cheaper in the long run. So I just want to let you know that as well. And do you have any other questions for me?
What's the time for implementation?
Website will be up by the end of the year. It's very aggressive, but that does allow it to qualify for CARES Act, should we be eligible for that. The meetings and agenda piece will take a little bit longer because it is an implementation. There is training for all staff that's all rolled into that as well. And any meetings that we have out there, we'll have to decide how far back we want to go to put into this without making some link like we've done in the past with, when the current website, God rest its soul, came along, we did a link to the page with the previous one because it was just, there were just too many to try to bring forward. So we'll decide how far we want to go back and put them out there. They won't be as interactive as you say. What will happen with this is when you go look at the video of the meeting, there will be a link to the agenda item. If you click on that link, it will advance to the video, the spot in the video where that takes place. So you really don't have to watch it all if you don't want to. Not everyone is blessed with the opportunity to watch every meeting.
Are there any additional questions?
Yeah, real quick. First of all, thank you very much for this. I know it was a lot of work, and I'm excited. Like Al, we've been talking about trying to get a website update for a while, so I'm really excited that it's going to happen. We have on here on the information you gave us, we talked about this idea of out through 5 years. Does that mean that we are going to enter into a 5-year contract,
Absolutely
or is that
not.
just a projection?
That is a projection. Some of the vendors put their 4 or 5 year contract out and said, this is what will cost you. It's a term. This particular group, Civic Plus, is if you don't like it, you're done.
Okay.
And you can go do something else. There is no commitment.
Yeah, based on their sites, I'm sure they're going to do a great job. I was just curious if this was something where we'd have to lock in for a certain amount of time.
There were several factors that made this what I consider the best fit for the town in the long term, and that was one of them. aside from the 4-year included revamp of the website, if you don't like it, you can move off and let someone else do a website. If you want to keep the meeting and agenda piece, you can do that. They become separate.
And they are based where, Civic Plus? Sorry,
Kansas,
thank you.
in Missouri. That would be in Kansas City in Missouri. Excuse me.
Thank you.
We'd like to clarify that one.
If there are no other questions, I think we have a motion and a second. Correct? Any other questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Messick.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Richardson? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Van Emberg?
I just wanted to update, we had talked previously about scheduling a workshop for the rules, and I talked to Ms. Ruff, and we're going to hopefully do that after your November 2nd council meeting. So after that meeting's over, we'll have a workshop, and I will get you a memo and some materials to review before then, so we can make that a productive workshop. But just wanted to update on that. That's all I have.
Any questions for Ms. Van Emberg? Thank you. Tonight, we have the pleasure of hearing from Judge Advocate Walter Black and Commander George Jenkins for an update on the redevelopment and revitalization capital project of the American Legion Post 77.
Good evening, Mayor Willie, President Cook, and distinguished members of the Town Council. I'm Walter Black, Judge Advocate of American Legion Post 77, and with me this evening are our officers of Post 77 and our project consultant, Ms. Joan McNamara. On behalf of our members, we want to thank you for this time to address the council and update you on our building to serve capital project. In anticipation of the American Legion Post number 77's 100th anniversary, we embarked on a rehabilitation project for our building, which is located at 102 Glenwood Avenue. That was in 2018. Now, this building was built in 1900. It was purchased by Post 77 in 1958, and it is our primary meeting place where veterans meet for camaraderie and support. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Because of its central location within the Port Street corridor area, Post 77 continues to be a hub for neighborhood residents to gather to receive support and to be informed about community news such as updates from the Easton Economic Development Corporation on the Port Street development plans. Also, it's a meeting place for veterans. Now, this capital building venture has been somewhat of a long process, at least a couple of years. We have shared our vision with Charles Goebel, very capable architect, who provided us with expert renderings, and the Willer Construction Company, who formulated the preliminary budget. With the town's support, we applied for and received a Community Legacy Award of $250,000 for phase 1 of our project. This was in 2019. Now, this phase includes the renovation of the kitchen, which has been rendered unusable due to a fire, as well as an updated meeting place and bathroom facilities. Pre-construction for phase 1 is underway, and we are anticipating construction to begin in early January 2021. Phase 2 of the project will focus on the renovation of the canteen area, also a second set of bathroom facilities and exterior elevations. The total cost of the project, phase 1 and phase 2, is $850,000. And we are respectfully asking for your support to submit a second round of funding for the Community Legacy Award of $250,000 in order for us to complete this project. To date, we have in excess of $100,000 in cash and $510,000 in real property that we, the Post, own outright. We have broadened our ability to inform the public of our activities by improving our website and by increasing our press coverage. We have the backing of our legislators, and through the Bond Bill Initiative, we have been awarded $150,000 to put toward the project. We hope to finalize our funding for phase 2 through the Community Legacy Grant. Our plan to renovate, expand, and modernize will better suit the needs of our veterans and the community. We respectfully thank the Town Council for this opportunity to update you today, and we respectfully request your letter of support for the Community Legacy Grant. We are happy to review our plans and renderings and will answer any questions regarding the project at this point. And our commander, George Jenkins, has some renderings here that he will, if you don't mind, that he will go over.
I want to try to stand somewhere where everybody can see. I think over in this corner be okay. And this is a small drawing that we have right now. And last time we was here, I think been a year ago, probably. I had some bigger plans, but we just bought the smaller plans because they were a little bit heavy to bring up them steps. So I wanted just to bring this from here. But if you can see, right here is what we have now. This area right here where these tables are. This area right here is what we have now. This area here is the proposed section of the addition that we want to build on, which is phase 1. Phase 1 consists of the new kitchen, bathrooms, mechanical rooms, and also remodeling this section here, which is our hall. As Wallace said, we were hoping that phase 1 would have been started by now, but as everybody knows, with this COVID and everything else that's going on, really put a dent in our project here. So, but as he said, hopefully in January, February, we will get started, and by hopefully in my calculation is by June, phase 1 should be done, or even sooner. And then phase 2, which would be this section here, which is actually the old building that was built in 1900. It's a 2-story building, but you can only see the downstairs right now. And some of this is addition that they added on years ago, probably before I was born. But anyway, phase 2 will consist of tearing a lot of this out, the old section of the building as it was, and remodeling it and bringing phase 1 into it to you know, all come together. So this is what hopefully the end project will look like once it's done, that we'll be able to have banquets and wedding parties and anything else you might want to name. So that's our project. We're hoping that one day that our veterans coming up, young veterans, will be able to come in and reap what we sow. That's what I want to say. Any questions?
Good looking project.
Thank you.
Just one quick question. Will phase 2, Mr. Jenkins, I know you mentioned it's a 2-story. Does that, any renovations to the second floor of the building?
Not at this point. No.
Okay.
No. Hopefully in the future we might, you know, but we're having such a hard time now to get this part going, so we'll let that be for last. Hopefully I'm still here to see it. Any other questions?
Well, I wanted to say that I support you holistically. My father, he died in Vietnam in September of 1967, and I'm glad that you are holding up the banner. And I'm just so glad that you're committed to enhancing the quality of life in the community and making a difference. And I support you 110%, and I just thank you for continuing to do what you do.
Thank you.
Ms. Cook, I think if the council, none of the members have been down in the Fort Street from west down to the Parkway, haven't seen what's going on in that neighborhood in the last few years, they'd be greatly surprised. This is going to be another great addition to that area. We've got the housing project right now at Port and West that's well underway, and there's also some other houses taking hold. You've got the school that's just opened up, and you've got Easton Point starting. And Post 77 and also the VFW Post have really carried the flag for Easton nationwide over the last few years with their honor guards and so forth. So I think if they're looking for support to get a letter into the community legacy folks, I think that's the very least we can do, and we should do it very cheerfully.
Yeah. I don't think you have many objections up here on that. I'm glad to hear that the project is continuing, because I remember when you came back to us for the phase one a little bit ago. So I'm glad that construction will begin in the new year. That's great news.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
So support for the project falls under resolution number 6125, a resolution of the Town of Easton approving the application and receipt of financing for a community legacy project further described in the community legacy application to be financed either directly by the Department of Housing and Community Development of the State of Maryland or through other departments or agencies of the State of Maryland. And this is eligible for a vote this evening.
I make a motion.
Second the motion.
All right, we have a move and a second for resolution 6125.
Mr. Silverstein?
Aye.
Mr. Abbatiello?
Yes.
Mr. Engle?
Yes.
Reverend Davis?
Yes.
President Cook?
Yes. Mr. Black, will you guys come back and give us an update again as the project continues?
Yes, it will be our pleasure to.
Thank
We
you.
thank you very, very much. We're moving forward for this.
Thank you.
Maybe they'd like a picture.
Mr. Black, could we get a picture with you guys, and then could you take me to the canteen room? I want more information about the canteen room.
So you want to come up here?
That'd be nice.
Come on, you guys get in. I'll stand in the back.
Where you been, man? You take care of yourself?
Got my mask on, I can't tell when I'm close.
Okay, guys.
Good, everybody,
Well, you get a chance to get
come
back.
on, man. No pictures there,
Keys.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Ben.
Pretty good.
Good to see you, David. I am too.
Still talking on your back.
Yeah, we do. Just a little.
Thank you, Jim. We'll send you a comment.
We have a review of invoices totaling $2,177,656.89.
Motion for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone who wishes to bring anything before the council this evening?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to address, again, for lack of, I don't know what we call it, the downtown economic strategy for revitalization. I don't know what you want to call it.
Steve, could you give us your name and address,
Oh,
please?
Steve Mangasarian, 520 South Aurora Street. I don't know, I guess that's what we'll call it, the downtown revitalization, whatever. I'd like to start by reading a letter I received back in July, addressed to Dear Business or Property Owner. At the request of Council President Megan Cook, on behalf of the town of Easton, the Easton Economic Development Corporation is pleased to invite you to attend a meeting this Thursday, July 23rd, to give input on strategies for increasing business for our downtown companies during COVID-19. Part of the objectives were to confirm the goals and objectives of the business community, to feature concepts from the Easton Business Alliance on how to energize downtown, discuss ideas from any other business or property owners wishing to put forward a concept for discussion. And it goes on, the information gathered at the meeting will be presented to the town of Easton for consideration. Additional opportunities for public comment will be made available after the final concepts are selected by the town of Easton. Now I'd like to read some comments from last meeting by Jeff Langford. We are going to do a study with the Easton businesses to find out what would they want, what would they benefit from permanent parklets. So I would suggest that everything that Jeff is proposing here has already been done. If you were not presented, I guess my question is, were you presented with the full report of the meeting back in July? Did anybody watch the video from it? Is everybody aware that there was a full vote done by all the participants plus those online? I know there was at least one council member present there. And if you have not seen the reports, somebody should be held accountable for that, but I'm interested in your opinions as to those reports. I think everything has been accomplished as to what Mr. Langford suggested we hold yet another meeting about. And I'd like to know what's being done about it. And just as another aside, I know how much governments love to spend money, but he also gave you some proposals for what it would cost for these barriers. And as part of my proposal, I did quite a bit of research, and it didn't take much to figure out that the water-filled barriers don't cost $552. You can get them for $178. Wheel stops don't cost $73. You can get them for $48. So I'm just interested in your comments, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Well, Steve, let me say that I was on the Zoom call for that meeting, so I did listen in on everything that was being said. We received a written copy of the information that was collated from the groups, and Jeff came up and made a presentation to us, and we did not make any commitments at this time to spend any additional money. So I'm still waiting for more information, waiting for more, see where we go from here. That's my comments.
Okay, so in other words, we are yet going to study it again after it was already studied, and there were quite a few good proposals put forward, and if nothing's going to happen downtown, then let's just call it as it is, that nothing's going to happen downtown, and once COVID emergency is over, we'll just go back to things as usual, and let's not waste anybody's time.
Well, I don't think that's correct. I know a beautification committee is being formed, and there's some other things. I'm not privy to all of them. And I think the intent is to continue to look at how to make downtown vibrant.
All right.
I'll stop there.
In that case, then, is that report from the June meeting, from the July meeting available?
I believe it is. We've all received. In fact, we all participated in the meeting on some level. I think a couple people may have been there in person. The rest of us were on Zoom.
Because I would love to see what the results, what the conclusions were from that, because then as a follow-up, Tracy Ward came to me, and I'm sure she went to others and asked for our opinions about what was going on, and we had a very productive meeting, but again, as from the public, from this public's observations, it doesn't seem as though anything is going on or anything will happen.
It seems like, I mean, in my opinion, I thought the number one plan that came from that meeting was a beautification of downtown. And Tracy and Jeff had been working on a committee to see exactly what that entails. They reported to us at the last meeting, and that's when they presented about the barriers. But as Mr. Silverstein said, we haven't taken any action on anything that they proposed yet.
Very good. Well, if it is at all possible, maybe I can ask somebody to, if I can get a copy of that report.
Yeah.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
And in fact, Mr. Magnussarian, I know you commented maybe a month ago you came to our meeting, and I thought you made some great suggestions. I had emailed Ms. Ward to see if she could reach out to you to see if you wanted to participate in that, because we felt, I felt that evening that you made some good points that should be shared with that committee. I'm not sure if she did that
Well,
or
the
not.
beautification, I did reach out to the beautification committee, and I was told that they were not interested in doing anything more than trying to figure out how to put planters on poles and decorate the park benches, I guess. But it was not in their purview to do anything more than that. So
We'll follow up.
I'll
Ms.
ask somebody for that report. Yeah.
Mr. Richardson, is it possible to get Mr. Magnussarian?
Yeah, I've pulled it up on my laptop already. I will email that to you later this evening.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yep, and thank you, Council.
Steve, thanks for coming before us with your concerns.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment to the council tonight? Seeing none, we have items by members of the council. Mr. Silverstein?
President Cook, this is going to be my personal item, and I don't speak for the council, but I can tell you in the future, if there are individuals who come for public assembly permits, and those permits do not come before us before the information is advertised, I will be voting no, no matter how many people have seen the information. It puts us in a very difficult position, and I don't think it's fair to the community. I think everybody should play by the rules. There's a reason for that, and we should have complete transparency. So, thank you very much.
Yep.
Nothing this evening.
I just want to say I'm saddened with reports of several fake bombs that were planted around the town over the weekend. I think it's abhorrent, and I hope that whoever, people know who's responsible, will certainly get back to the police so we can stop this immediately.
Reverend Davis?
No, I actually happened to be walking when one of the signs were out there, and it was a little strange, and church service was going on all at the same time. So, yeah, we just want to be safe and, in our community during this time.
The only thing I have to add is that Talbot County Public Schools did reach out to me via email a few days ago about missing the ribbon cutting. They apologized to the council, members of the council, for the invitations, and have offered, if we are interested, to get a tour of the new school. I told them that I would reach out to the councilman tonight, and maybe we could do it one night before a council meeting to get a tour. They did great work. The project's beautiful, and they've been working on it for a long time. So if you guys are so inclined, I'll make sure to email them back and let them know. If we can pick a date, maybe late November, December.
I'm inclined.
Thank you for doing that.
All right. Take a motion to adjourn for this evening.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.